This is Academic Transfer in Focus. My name is Galen Scott, the AVP for Academic Programs. One of the things we're doing in Academic Transfer is really trying to build partnerships with four-year schools, partnerships with external agencies, with local nonprofits, all sorts of partnerships. So today we're going to talk about an engineering partnership. I am not an engineer. I've never studied engineering, but a couple of my best friends are, and I love the way that brain works when you're an engineer. So we're going to get to delve into that opportunity for our students to develop their engineering brains. Today we have with us Shana Shaw. She is, I'm going to get your title wrong, she's a professor at A&M,
yes,
and also an adjunct professor in several disciplines here at ACC. So welcome, Shana. We're glad you're here.
It's great to be here.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself so folks can get to know you a bit.
So first of all, I'm an Aggie living in Austin. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
And I got my bachelor's degree at A&M in mechanical engineering. And then later I went to Purdue for my master's degree in interdisciplinary engineering. So I am full through and through an engineer.
Okay.
So I worked in the industry, about three different industries for about 20 years, actually, not to date myself, but about 20 years of industry experience before I transitioned and went into education full-time. Mm-hmm. So at A&M, there's a program called Professors of Practice, and we have about almost 100 professors that teach in every one of the 20 engineering disciplines that have industry experience infused into all of the departments.
Okay.
So it's a big focus area that A&M has now.
Practical
and
experience.
Yes,
yeah.
and it's great in the classroom to have those practical examples from your industry experience.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me,
Okay.
and then I moved back to Texas and started at ACC before I got on full-time with A&M.
And so if you look Shana Shaw up in the ACC directory, you're an adjunct in student development, you're an adjunct in at least a couple in engineering or physics or...
engineering. I was an adjunct in the architectural and engineering CAD department.
That's right.
That was the other one. And then general studies and student success. Yes,
okay.
Student development. So a few here and there. I worked with the electronics and advanced technologies department. I worked in continuing education for several years and the accelerator as an academic, kind of a life coach for students, and leading SI efforts and things like that. So I had a lot of different hats at ACC kind of to add up over the years, but now I'm really just full-time at A&M, and every now and then I will teach a class as needed if there's, an opening comes up and they don't have enough filled, I'll jump in and maybe teach one just to keep in with the ACC crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So folks probably are trying to figure out what it means to be full-time at A&M, but you're here at ACC.
Yeah.
So that's the nice segue to telling us a little bit about this engineering partnership that ACC has with A&M.
Yes, it's called the Texas A&M Chevron Engineering Academy at Austin Community College, and there are 7 different academies around the state right now. 5 of them that Chevron sponsors with an endowment, actually. So they are very committed to education and to helping students find a different path to finish an engineering degree at A&M. So the Austin Academy is a year into it now, so we're going strong, and we had actually the largest enrollment of any first year for any academy so far.
How many did we have?
We had 68 in the first cohort, so go Austin. We had the record, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is a testament to the surrounding areas and the need for engineering education in this area. But this partnership is kind of unique because it's the first of its kind in the country. And even though you're enrolled as a full-time student, you are an Aggie from day one, and you're a Riverbat from day one.
Okay.
So it's not a program that you're intending to go off to University of Hawaii or something else. It's for students that want to be an Aggie and want to finish that bachelor's degree at A&M.
Okay. And so they start with us. You are the engineering professor.
Yes.
You teach 1, 2 courses?
I teach 5 classes, actually.
Okay.
5
over
engineering classes that are taught from me, the A&M professor, over the course of 4 different semesters.
I see. Okay. So it's a 2-year program for our students.
It's a 1 to 2 year program.
Okay.
So the requirements are that you're a full-time student and that you go in the program 1 year minimum and up to 2 years maximum before you transition We specify that it's a transition program. It's not a transfer program because you're already an Aggie from day one. So then you will transition to College Station to finish that bachelor's degree.
Okay. So of the first cohort, how many are staying for the second year? Do you know?
About half are staying, yeah. We had a lot of students in this first year that's very typical that already had a bunch of ACC credits. So they are ready to move on with about 60 hours or so. They're finishing or almost finishing their associate's degree at ACC in engineering, and then they're moving on to College Station.
Okay, and the others are staying just to complete more.
And the others
core
are staying
courses.
because they entered as a freshman, or they took 12 hours instead of 15, or so they have a little bit more time, and they're saving more money by staying here another semester too. So
when they transition to A&M, are they automatically in the engineering field of their choice, or how does
so
that
what
work?
happens is after 1 year they apply to what's called an entry to a major program. Okay, so an entry to a major is the ETAM process, they call it. It's the same thing that any student at A&M and College Station goes through, or A&M Galveston or Corpus or wherever. And after that first year, every engineering student is a general engineering student in College Station. So we do the same thing here. And after that first year, they can apply if they've completed 2 math, 2 science, and 2 engineering classes successfully, then they can apply to their first choice major. Now, it's a holistic review process that happens for A&M to decide who gets into what major, because there's 20 to choose from. Most people have heard of maybe 5 engineering disciplines, let alone 20, and so we really teach those nuances about the different disciplines. And then they, after their first year, they apply to that ETAM process in which they get their choice of major. If they have a 3.5 GPA cumulative in both ACC and A&M, then they're guaranteed their first choice of major out of any of those 20 disciplines. And so that's pretty nice, a good little incentive. And then the other students that don't have that 3.5 overall, about 90%, 85-90% of them actually get their first choice of major. So it's not hard to get your first choice. It's just, I think, harder to decide which one you want to choose out of the 20 than it is to try to get that one.
So how'd the first year go? You had 68, you said?
Had 68 students our first cohort. Yeah, it was good.
Did they all complete? Did they?
Most of them did. Yeah, I mean, we have, some students just find that engineering is not for them, and so that's okay. We'd rather them find that their first or second semester than their senior year. So I don't personally mind the attrition after the first year, but after the first year, we want you to stay. We want you to succeed, because you know that engineering's for you. So
there are other activities, right?
Yes, there's lots of other activities. So we try to make this, experience here at Austin just the same as it would be if they were taking the classes in College Station. So we have a classroom for up to 100 students. It's the same as in College Station. We have trips that we go to the A&M campus about 3 to 4 times a semester, actually. They're going to get things like going to the career fair. The A&M Career Fair has between 400 to 450 companies that just come to College Station to interview only engineering students. So it's huge. It's amazing. And our students get prepared for that. They do their elevator pitches, they do their resumes, they do a personal website, they get ready to go to that career fair to try to get internships and co-op jobs and things like that, or just interview practice for later. So we do trips like that. We'll do trips where we go to A&M and we see all the labs and we see the Engineering Innovation Center. It's like kind of like the playground for engineers with all the toys that we get to play with. They see different departments. They learn more about each department specifically. And then we also have a project showcase at the end of the spring in which all engineering classes are showcased for the whole department. All departments are showcased. And we even had one of our teams from the ACC cohort get featured in that showcase. They competed and got to that level where they were actually presented their semester project at the engineering showcase. So lots of different events that we go. And I can't forget about the A&M tailgate that we go to in the fall.
There had to be a football game in there.
Of course there's an Aggie football game that Chevron sponsors and lets all the students that want to go. So that's a lot of fun.
That's fabulous.
Yep.
we're taping this in July, so we're recruiting for the next class. What's the recruiting cycle?
So the recruiting cycle is that every year in the spring, starting in January 1st to around June, July, we have applications that we accept.
Okay.
And then they will determine the placement by August, and then the next cohort starts in August every year. So we recruit in the spring, and we start in the fall every year. So it's a yearly cycle instead of a semester cycle, and it's up to 100 students a year that can be accepted into the program.
And I know you made some layout changes in the classroom, right, to support your teaching.
Yes, so every year, every few years, we're always looking to improve our curriculum. We're always asking our industry partners, you talked about partnerships, we have a ton of partners with different industry people, and we are always working to increase our program success and to make our program better. I just got back from the American Society of Engineering Education conference. Actually, it's been around for 125 years, helping teach engineering education. So we go there, we have a big presence, and we infuse a lot of those things back into our classrooms.
Okay.
So we're changing the curriculum a little bit this semester. We're going to have kind of a lab set up to apply things like physics concepts and math concepts in the real world of engineering. How do you see things like angular momentum that Paul probably just talked about? How do you see those things live, and how does it apply to engineering instead of just learning about it in a physics textbook? So these classes don't replace physics by any means, or calculus. They still have all of those, but we are tweaking the curriculum constantly to try to make it better for our students.
Okay. And to apply, you have to be, is it pre-calculus ready or calculus ready?
It's pre-calculus ready. We would suggest that you're Calculus 1 ready, just because if you're pre-calculus ready, you don't have any room to make a mistake and maybe not do well in a calculus class.
Oh, gotcha.
So we will accept students in pre-calculus to start the program, but knowing that you have to do well in your calculus classes all the way through, and you can't mess up and take a semester off or anything like that if you start in pre-calculus.
Okay.
You just won't meet the prerequisites to keep going on in the program.
Right.
So.
Okay. It sounds like it's a wonderful way to help our students find the pathway that they want, right? They want an engineering pathway, they want to go to A&M, but they get our sort of opportunities and I don't know, our atmosphere perhaps for a while.
Sure.
Is
well,
beneficial.
Going off to a big university like Texas A&M that has about 18,500 engineering students.
Right.
Okay, that's larger than many colleges, and that's just the engineering department at A&M. That can be intimidating to a lot of people. It gives them a different pathway for one, increased affordability, because you're paying the ACC tuition rate for almost all except one of your classes, and you can stay at home maybe a little longer, depending on if you have family needs or just want to stay home because you like your parents still. And then we hope to increase that retention through the engineering departments by giving them a different pathway to get their engineering degree at A&M. So it's a great program, and it's well-rounded to suit a lot of different people, because at ACC we have a lot larger diversity with ages and families and different commitments that people have in this city. And it's nice that our program last year had ages 14 to 37 in the classroom.
14?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it really is a program that can fit all of those ranges. Some people have military experience or coming back to school. Some people, have families that started in a different industry and then now want to go get an engineering degree. So there's different pathways for all those students to do that, as long as they don't already have a bachelor's degree. That's one of the requirements of the program.
Yeah, and that's really the beauty of it. Any classroom at ACC, that you have such a diverse group of students who.
It makes it more fun, I think.
Yeah, help each other learn.
And
make
it actually really helps increase those communication skills that I say are 80% of engineering is communication. And most people think I have it backwards.
Right.
What's Shana talking about? 80% is technical in engineering, right? No, I'm here to tell everybody that engineering is 80% communication, 20% technical.
Right.
And so that diversity actually helps increase those communication skills when you're put in teams working on projects. whether they're teams of 2 or teams of 8, you're really going to have to work with a wider range of people and pay attention to diversity and communication in order to get the task done in a timely, on task, on budget, on time types of tasks that we do. So it's really important.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. Any last thoughts? I think we've sort of covered the basics of it. It's a huge opportunity for our students.
Yeah, we really try to increase several things. Retention in the engineering field, that we know there's a shortage of qualified technical people. We try to increase affordability, that's huge, and we try to increase access, because there's a lot of different ways that you can actually get that A&M engineering degree. So that's what we're trying to do.
All right.
It's a great program.
Thank you very much, Shana.
All right, thank you.
We really appreciate Shana's time today. I hope you learned some good things about what we're doing in academic programs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.